Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this discussion about the crisis on the Zambian border. Joined with us today, we have got Mr. Omar, who is the transporter. So I'll give this opportunity for him to introduce himself, and then we can move forward.
Thank you for having me on the show. Good afternoon to everybody. Yes, I'm based in South Africa and we're running about 500 trucks going to DRC, Zambia, Malawi, and the like. Most of Africa we do cover. So, my main challenge at the moment for me to come up here is the challenge we're facing in Zambia, where they are giving a 90 days per annum for a driver to traverse Zambia in a year. Sure, that's where the challenge is. That's why we are here to seek advice and assistance from you guys abroad, how we can resolve this issue.
Boss T, do you have any advice to give?
I am both T. I'm an entrepreneur. I've got interest in the ambulance logistics and grocery logistics. Results pertaining to how things can be resolved. that's a tough one. I think we need to create an ecosystem relating to the whole transport fraternity. And that will only come by when we acknowledge ourselves as the capital of whatever we are trying to do. We must be in a position to own the sources of production, the transport infrastructure, and then create clusters of what we have. So far, we don't seem to be doing that. Until such time we take over the mechanical engineering of the transport sector, human resources, things like that, or create an ecosystem, then we'll be in a position to have a collective mouthpiece to whoever worldwide. So it's about recognition and creation of an ecosystem. That's what I think.
Thank you very much. We saw that the creating an ecosystem and the owning the means of transport. Mr. Chilanga, can you unmute yourself so that we can hear you?
Sorry to come late. As I reported, I was driving from Aberon coming this side. So I just arrived this afternoon. And I was trying to cross to come to Zambia side. Thank you that you joined you. So I found you already started.
And we were just introducing ourselves, and I understand you are the main man for this discussion, and I will formally welcome you to our viewers and the people in the room. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Chilanga to Champion Network TV, and thank you for joining us to discuss the critical issues pending the truck driver strike, particularly concerning the Zambian border with its neighboring countries. So I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, Mr. Chilanga, and what brought you to this broadcast.
Thank you once again. I'm McDonald Rodney Chilanga. Actually, I'm the Secretary General for Professional Drivers Union in Malawi. I'm also representing the region as the Treasurer General for all the unions and the association within these SADC countries. In short, that is my position. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And this question, it's either you can answer it or Omar can answer it. Can you explain to the viewers and the concern raised by truck drivers, especially regarding the high cost of transit through Zambia?
Thank you. First of all, as drivers, we are having a lot of challenges across the region. First of all, I'll start with the other countries. Like before, we used to have some challenges in Mozambique with the police officers and the other agencies who are working along the roadblocks on the road. After some discussions, we found that there was a big change in Mozambique. From there, let me go to Zimbabwe. In Zimbabwe, we used to have challenges with our policies in Zimbabwe. But after some time back, the president ordered some directives so that we should have a good movement across the Zimbabwean country. So far, I can assure you that in Zimbabwe, we don't have any problems with the police officers. Let me go to DR Congo, where there is a lot of challenges. If I say a lot of challenges, there are a lot of challenges. Some of them we have seen drivers killed in Congo, drivers being hurt by the thugs in Congo. A lot of things has happened to drivers. And we have also seen some charges imposed on truck drivers. All those things, they had to take some drivers on their own to say we are not going to enter DR Congo until these other things has to be looked into. And we have seen some changes as we are talking. These days, you can drive from one border to the other side where you're going to afford without being harassed by police in DR Congo. When we come to Botswana, Botswana is a peaceful country. You can even drive from one border to the other without being asked by any police officer on the road. So let's come to the main point which we are talking here in Zambia. In Zambia too, before we used to have some problems with the police. But I can assure you, we are just remaining with some few police roadblocks. But actually, what they used to ask, I can assure to say they are genuine things. It's normal a police officer to ask for track defects and the like. It's normal. But when you come to other issues, I can assure you that Zambia on policing issues is much better. Now, the main issue which has dragged us to meet here, or which has hung on the social media for the past few days, is about the immigration rules which are imposed on drivers. And these immigration rules has affected so many drivers who have either lost their jobs due to the policies which the Zambian immigration introduced. So far, we have got so many drivers who have lost their jobs due to the 90 days, the issue which has been a hot topic for the past few years. So mainly, these are some of the challenges drivers are facing within the corridor.
Interesting.
Thank you very much. Mr. Omar, do you want to add anything to what Mr. Chilang has articulated?
No, so far he's covered all the points, and we are all sitting. That's the main point so far: is immigration. If we can clear this one, then Zambia is in power with everybody. But for now, our heads are boiling with this 90-day issue.
Have we made an opportunity? Have we made any attempts to seek audience with the Zambia immigration as a union, as a collective body? Have we made that attempt?
Yes, the unions have. And they keep on saying, okay, we're sitting, we're discussing, there will
Are you
be
sending
change.
the
But
right
like
people
everything
who are
else,
effective? Are you sending the right
yes,
people?
yes, sir, we are. And the results, they do share with us some information in writing that this was what was discussed and there will be change. But when, only God knows. For them to extinguish the flame when they hear that there's a fire erupting, for them to extinguish the flame, they come up with such stories just to calm down the crowd and say, no, we are working on this. We've discussed ABC. Just relax. Change comes slowly, just to cool. But I don't see any progress. I don't know. Chilanga, you are on the road. What do you see and hear from the rest of the guys from Zimbabwe and the like?
Yeah, actually, the challenges driver are facing is almost similar because whether it's the Zimbabwean, whether it's the South African, whether it's the Malawian or Mozambican, whether it's the Congolese, whether it's the Zambian, all the problem drivers are facing, they're almost equal. So this one also has added to what drivers are facing along the corridor of this SADC region.
Okay, the lion in the elephant is, how do we resolve this? How are we going to do it? When are we going to do it? What are we going to do and when?
That's the main point.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me go to our next
I want water.
discussion topic. Maybe it might help us to think along what Dr. Bosti is trying to come to. Now we know the Zambian serves as a key transit point. Let me
Corridor.
just put corridor. Let me just put the sorry. Let me put the map on the so that viewers can also share the same thing that we will be seeing. If we see the if we see Zambia there, it's in the middle there, and it actually becomes almost the center of the SADC region. So my question is, given the geographical location of Zambia, how do you think the strike, which is expected to start on the 16th of this month, which is about I think 8 days away, will disrupt trade within the neighboring countries?
I'm pretty
McDonald,
certain.
what's going on with the strike? Update us there.
I'm pretty certain there will be some
Uh,
destabilization somewhere along the way.
Mr. Chilang, I
Yeah,
think
because that's what I've been hearing from our drivers as well. They've been just saying to us that all the talking, all the false promises, they're tired of it, and their people are being affected by all this, by being imprisoned. I personally had a driver arrested 2 days ago in Zambia, which I had to pay a fine of 24,000 kwacha to get him released, where he was even now denied entry into the country and had a section in his passport or a stamp, if I may say, to say denied entry into Zambia just because of the 90-day rule that had lapsed. So, and the guy is in transit to DRC. Now they say your 90 day it's very very disturbing and upsetting for me because now I had to have the truck standing for 2 days. I have to arrange money, send money to go and release the driver. My client is in transit. why you have days. Really, it may seem small to the outside world, but it's really killing. He's got the right to complain. Any little thing, he'll push you, but he can get you to the border. He was so in a hurry for his cargo, but you're gonna sit 1 week waiting for clearance. But what can you say? The customer is always right, But now we're standing in transit because of a small issue, which I'm looking at it as a small issue. It's not even supposed to be an issue, but it's an issue only in Zambia. And someone who's never been to prison is being put in cell behind bars. He's got a valid passport. It's not an expired. He didn't jump the border, but they said, no, your days have lapsed 90 days. So that is that. But when you pay the fine, automatically you become legal again.
Maybe we need an intergovernmental conference about this, something bigger than what we are trying to achieve. Because it appears, there are different corners of the argument with different perceptions as regards what should happen. For starters, the 90-day rule has to be explored at length to a level of a problem-solving approach. And then we have the driver safety, health and safety, imprisonment threat, and so on. We have to start exploring all these issues at a very high level. Yes, I do agree that you guys are working on it at a serious level, but I think we are at a point where we need an intergovernmental input on the matter. Otherwise, we need to escalate it to another level. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
And I also agree with you, both capital. But I was looking at it to say when I was talking to Mr. Omar earlier on, I think one border of Zambia actually have got a volume of 200 to 300 trucks every day.
Wow.
Just if you just then look at those volumes in terms of the business for the region, if we have got even 1 day stoppage, the cost to the economic cost to the region, I don't know how. I'm not an economist. I don't know.
But we've got a situation whereby we can argue our case. There's a lot of traffic from one corner to the other: Zambia, Congo, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and all these countries need some service of some sort. And the service has to go uninterrupted. If we start interrupting the services in terms of cargo and freight, then we are damaging the infrastructure of freight movement. And how do we solve it? We try and resolve it at a primary level and to no avail. So the next port of call will be to involve intergovernmental agencies to ensure that this is corrected at some point or another. Because the way it is right now, we need intergovernmental agencies involved. Otherwise, this can go on, and the end result would be damage to the infrastructure, the transport infrastructure of the responsible countries. That's what I think. We need to start thinking about that urgently. Include the unions and ensure that a proper representation is defined and submitted to the respective entities. Different ministries of transport should be approached. We need to seek audience with powerful entities in the commerce and industry to ensure that we have a solution to this. And the solution is needed urgently.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think as
and
I
we
said,
go back to the same term of SADC. All
Yeah.
the countries we're discussing here all fall under SADC. And
Yes.
before having a Mozambican passport, you wouldn't enter Zimbabwe without purchasing a visa. You had to get a visa. All that was abolished when SADC sat down and came up to say, look, we're gonna have one lingo for all countries.
Right.
But then I don't understand. There's we are in Zimbabwe and Zambia. We are speaking Chinese in a English country. That's how it seems. The whole SADC, it seems to be distorted. They don't understand the actual base and the meaning of that SADC formation. It's not
We
being
need
practiced.
we need to go back to the drawing board. We
Yes,
need to register our story again. We need to remind each other about past events relating to SADC, what was agreed
correct.
on, and the state of events currently. So for now, like I'm saying, we need the involvement of intergovernmental agencies to ensure that we come with a problem-solving approach. Otherwise, nothing will move. This is
Nothing.
beyond this is beyond the union.
Then I
Correct.
think the next I think the next question then how do we move in that direction? I understand Mr. Chilanga the written to the SADC Secretariat in Botswana, which we were supposed to submit weekend, and he couldn't get through. And so I don't know whether SADC is a proper route to take, or are there any options that can be taken? Because he needs a proper advice in terms of what does he do if we are going to move in the right direction.
We need a task force. A task force designed to approach the respective entities in the transport sector and highlight the problems and define terms and conditions of
That's
what is
true.
happening currently. Yeah.
And unfortunately, Mr. Chilanga is unmuted. Is muted? I'm saying. Right. So, so it now puts responsibility on our shoulders as we discuss this, that a task force is needed, and obviously we are the ones that Boss T has dropped. It's now you and me, Mr. Omar. Um,
Yes.
Boss T has just come up with a statement that says this situation is beyond the union, because we have the gravity of the impact. If there is only 1 day strike, the cost to the region is massive. Mr. Chilanga, can you unmute your mic? I think everybody's dropping off. Can you unmute your mic? Oh, okay, sorry. So I can see you said your network is a bit.
Somebody was trying to call. I guess is what
Okay,
disturbed us.
okay, that's all right. So I was just saying, Bosti has put like to give us a challenge to say, in as much as we are trying to solve this at a union
Union
level,
level.
I think
Yeah.
looking at the problem, it's actually something that needs to be dealt with at government to government level, because
Government.
in as much
Yes.
as this is impacting on individual transporter and individual drivers as they pass through Zambia, but if the strike goes ahead, the economic cost to the region as a whole, it's just massive. As I think I remember when we were talking earlier on, Mr. Omar, you mentioned that. I think I can't remember the border you mentioned that has got a
I
volume of
said Kazungula, the Kazungula border.
Kazungula,
They have
Kazungula
minimum,
border.
yeah, 250 to 300 trucks minimum a day there.
A day there, right? And if you look at the volume of and the value of the trade that is going on because of those trucks passing through that, if you then multiply by how many borders are there in around Zambia, and then put a value to it, we are just shooting ourselves in the foot as a region by not addressing this.
Correct.
So
Correct. I don't know. Maybe we should try and get. If you say government should be involved, maybe we should go to Mozambique embassy, all those neighbors of Zambia, because now Zambia is surrounded by all these countries. Tanzania at Tunduma Nakonde border, we've got Chanida Mozambique border. Then they've got Chirundu with Zambia, with Zimbabwe, um, Kazungula side. I don't know. We should get all these countries involved, and they should try and fight the battle for us if we can't address it on our own as a unions.
Yeah, because I think the union can still go and put their pressure, but I think we now need a higher task force that looks into how do we engage the government around to speak to Zambia at a government to government level.
Yeah, on that point, the challenges we are having, when we try to engage other government officials, sometimes they don't even respond. You see? So they always come to respond when they see drivers have stopped or there is something else. But in normal circumstances, none of the top officials, they came to respond in time. So that is also the main challenge we are facing.
Okay, all right. And so, what do you think we can do? Obviously, we can create a team that can write maybe agents correspondence to all the countries that share borders with the Zambia, and also
Yeah.
even
On that note, if you see the drivers are stopping, always there might be something which has break their hearts. So it cannot just happen on a mere ground to say we want to go on strike. There might be a concrete reason, and we always first try to communicate with the other officials responsible. But their response always, it doesn't touch. That's why you find that drivers always go on strike, just because they were not regarded the time they raised their concerns to the authorities. So that is the main challenge. Had it been, they used to respond to whatever grievances have been raised in time, I don't think we would have strikes within the corridor. But all this just because of the our officials, they don't respond in time until they hear that driver they have gone on strike. Just like on this one, you will find that people will now start coming to say, let's go on a round table, we discuss. But yet the time was there. They could have responded in time. But you only find them coming to say, let's go on a round table, we discuss on this issue, and then we solve it. But we should not solve things while we have already fire on ground. let's solve all the problems on normal circumstances. That is what we are looking for.
True. Agreed.
Okay. Okay. So the SADC letter has been submitted, or has it been submitted?
Yes, I submitted a soft copy. A soft copy I submitted to the registrar, the office responsible to receive all letters. Of course, the hard copy also I was supposed to submit to the same office. Unfortunately, yesterday it was weekend. They only work from Monday to Friday. Saturday and Sunday they don't work. That was the main challenge. And the officers I found there, they said they don't receive any documents to submit on someone's behalf. Everyone has to submit on his own. So that was the main challenge I faced yesterday. That's why I failed to submit the hard copy to the SADC office. I was there. It's where I'm coming from.
Okay, thank you. Let me just acknowledge Mr. Gwanzura on online. He is following us and is writing comments in the comment section. He is the one who has actually suggested that the drivers, just because they are coming to Zambia to deliver goods and services for Zambian people, they are going across. And so thank you for joining us. So I think the main issue that we need now to see, where do we move from here? With the Zambia being a trade route for places like Zimbabwe, Malawi, DRC, and a strike will definitely impact the region. What can we do to, or what advice can we give to the authorities in the neighboring countries? Because sometimes people may not realize the impact of something until it happens.
There's always a big impact when trucks stop moving. You know, every country depends on the business which is happening in that particular country. So drivers, they are the backbone of every business. So once the trucks have stopped, it affects a lot of companies. It affects the life of people. It affects the government itself. It affects the economy of the region or that particular country or the world, just because one truck or 2 or 3 trucks have stopped. So the better thing is try to respond drivers in time whenever they raise their grievances. If you respond in time, obvious, they will not stop. But if they stop, there's a lot of things that get affected due to the stoppage of trucks.
Correct.
And then Mr. Omar, do you want to add something?
No, Mr. Chilanga has covered the basics 100%. That's all well said, to the point. All we're waiting is over to Zambia. I wish we had someone from Zambia to shed some light and put ice in our brain to cool us off a bit.
Okay. Thank you very much. I think, do we all agree we may need a follow-up meeting to this one?
Yeah, sure.
Where you can even invite some drivers who are really on the ground and how they are feeling, and I think my message to, first of all, to the Zambian government is, in as much as the permit money may improve the may be used for to cater for one or two things that the Zambian government has got the responsibility for, but the impact of a strike on its neighboring countries has got also a diplomatic impact. It is likely to create some tension, which they may not see now, but when the trade is affected, you can begin to see some diplomatic cracks. So I think if this message goes to anyone who is in the immigration in Zambia or someone who is in the transport sector, it is my plea that they give this issue a priority for the sake of the region and for the sake of the people of Zambia. And to all the neighboring countries, I think we need to put our heads together and solve this crisis. I call it a crisis because I
Correct.
can just imagine what will happen if there is a stoppage, even if it means just for one day, for us to give a wake up call. The damage would have done. And we have got a transporter here who is really worried because I think his goods are now delayed in Zambia simply because his driver was locked up. And he has to find another driver all the way from South Africa to try to move the goods to their destination. So I think this is something that as a region, we must give answers as soon as we can. I will give Mr. Omar your final remarks to the viewers, to the Zambian government or the neighboring countries before we close this broadcast.
Sure. I would just like them to reconsider and restructure this ruling of the 90 days. Let's work freely as one, and we stick to our words of our forefather, grandfather, Nelson Mandela, Ubuntu. We should hold hands and work together as a chain, because when the chain is broken, there is no link. So we are one Africa. We should be united forever. That's all we ask for. We shouldn't have these differences to cause friction between us. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you. Mr. Chilanga, your final word, the Zambian authority first and any neighboring countries. I think he is frozen. Yeah. Can you give your final thoughts to the Zambian authorities, neighboring countries, or your fellow drivers?
Thank you. I believe Zambia is a God-fearing country, and I like the slogan which we used to sing here in Zambia. So
I think he's frozen. Our viewers, thank you for joining us at Champions Network TV. We shall do another follow-up meeting to this one, and we will bring in some drivers. And if we happen to get hold of any authorities from Zambia, we can bring them in and discuss the issue. Thank you, Mr. Chilanga, for joining us, and Mr. Omar for your valuable contribution, your insight into this transport industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you to all
Thank you.
the viewers too. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.